YouTube, it's your boy if you're okay, man. I'm back here with a brand new video. Today I've got for you Game Week 3 review, Game Week 4 team selection, and a wildcard draft for Game Week 4. So it's a full package. Let's get straight into the video. As you guys can see, I had another fantastic game week. Great start to the season. My previous rank was 16k in the world. Now we went all the way up to 3k. Amazing rank, although it's not a big deal at this stage because it's way too early in the season. The rank really doesn't matter. So yeah, overall really happy with the squad. Start off with Henderson. He had a bunch of saves. Also they conceded versus Chelsea. I was quite happy with him. He came up with a bunch of saves and 4 points. You know, I think the Palace defense is looking better now, although I had my doubts at the beginning of the season considering Anderson left the team. Now they did sign some defenders as well as kept Gehi in the team, so it is looking quite promising and I'm quite happy to have him for the future. Moving on to the defense, we got Trent. He could have, again, a goal was disallowed versus United because of an offside due to Salah, but again he could have easily come out with a hole, but he did again get a clean sheet and 6 points. Happy with him. And then Robinson, again another assist. If he wasn't for a yellow card, he could have had 5 points / a bonus point maybe. He had 2 attacking returns now. Really happy with him. And then Gabriel, unfortunately there was a red card which I don't think was deserved. Quite unfortunate for Arsenal. I think if he wasn't for that red card to Rice, they would have kept a clean sheet. And right now Gabriel could have had another, 6-pointer or 7-pointer if you consider getting a bonus points. So overall, okay defensive, I think pretty good to be honest, defensive returns. I'm pretty happy with that going forward. Moving on to the midfield, Salah, absolute king. Santa Salah, the Egyptian king, the GOAT himself with a 17-pointer hat-trick. If you went with him as a captain, smashed it. Really happy for you. And as you can see, I have both Salah and Haaland and they both had hat-trick. I couldn't be more happy. I think the key thing to note here, the theme is now most people are going to me, taking -4 and using all the transfers to get Salah or Haaland in, depending on which one they went with. And luckily, we did opt to go with the structure of Salah and Haaland, and as you can see, it did pay off, and we're flying to the, flying through the ranks. So really happy with this score from Salah. Let's hope he keeps us return up, considering the fixtures he has coming up. Moving on to Rodgers. Again, a bit of a disappointment, but what do you expect from a 5 million midfielder? He could have had another assist if not for Watkins bottling it. Watkins has not been looking too good, to be honest, to start the season. His fitness is not right. He's not looking so sharp like last season. So I have my doubts about him. So I'm not really too keen on bringing in Watkins, as I originally thought I would probably be considering the fixtures. But again, Rodgers, he looked good, but I do need him to get those returns. 2 points, not too pleased, but it is what it is. 5 million, you can't expect too much from it. Moving on to the next midfielder, Smith Rowe. Again, he didn't look too great. He only had 1 or 2 shots. He attempted 1 or 2 shots. Not too pleased. Fulham doesn't look that good attacking wise, so he might be one of those players I might look to ship. We'll get into the next transfer section and see what other transfers that I'm looking at, or if I have already made one. And then lastly, Diogo Jota. I mean, Liverpool looks so good against United. I mean, he could have come up with at least an assist or a goal, but unfortunately he blanked. Diaz looked amazing. For some reason, it seemed like Jota was playing a bit more deeper, and Diaz was making those run in the middle, and he was getting most of the chances. But again, I'm pretty happy with Jota for long term. He did have 2 returns in the first 2 game weeks. It's okay that he got a blank this week. I think there's more returns to come moving in the future. Finally, the forwards, as I already said, Haaland, hat-trick, smashed it, the robot. If you don't have him, get him as soon as possible. Back-to-back hat-trick. I'm hoping to get, I'm hoping for him to break another record and have back-to-back hat-trick 3 game weeks in a row. So that would be a record for him. I hope he gets that done. So again, pretty happy with him. Moving on to the next forward, we've got our boy Wood. Big differential. He came up clutch for me in game week 1 and then came up clutch again in game week 3. So amazing performance. He could have had a penalty, to be honest, and that would have been 2 returns for him, but it was unlucky they didn't give it to him. But again, really happy with him. He came up with 3 bonus points as well, so I'm happy to keep him. Lastly, we have Isak. He finally got his goal, as we were all hoping that he would, because again, he's plays for Newcastle and he's playing for over 90 minutes and he's on penalties, and overall he looked to be a template pick and everyone expects him to get a return, and finally we got a return. I do see though in the community a lot of people are selling Isak for João Pedro and to get funds for upgrade Saka to Salah. I don't necessarily agree with that move. Unless you plan to wildcard in game week 6 and bring back Saka, then maybe I might opt to go to that option. But again, if you're taking -4, I don't necessarily agree with that because you're expecting Salah to hold big again. I mean, he's got Forest next, he might, but again, that's a big gamble to take. Personally, I'm not too fan of that move. But anyways, overall, really pleased with this squad. Amazing score. Moving on to the bench, again, nothing. They all got 0 points. I mean, what can you expect when you go with Salah and Haaland and you have Jota, Trent, all these premium options? You're not going to have a bench, to be honest. And that's exactly what happened. None of my bench got any points. I don't have too high expectation from them as long as my starting 11 keeps on smashing it. Let's move on to our Game Week 4 team selection. So as you guys can see, I have made my 2 transfers. I have bought in Eze for Smith Rowe and I have bought in João Pedro for Wood. Although it hurt me to sell Wood, he was a big differential for me. He delivered 2 game weeks in a row, but he does have, Liverpool next. So I opted to go with João Pedro, who's got Ipswich at home and who's pretty much becoming a template pick now, considering he's already had 2 returns and he looks to be on pens as well as he's got 90 minutes. So all the things are going right for him. Similarly with Eze, who finally got his return. I've been keep saying that, from game week 1, that he looks really good. He's bound to get his return and he's due. And he finally had a goal against Chelsea. And I think going forward, he's going to be a template pick, considering the fixture run that he has. He's got Leicester at home, Everton, he's got United at home, and then Everton away. Great 3 fixtures. And for the long term, he also looks good, to be honest. So I'm pretty happy with this transfer as well. Smith Rowe, as I said, he didn't look too good. And that's why I opted to go and upgrade him to Eze. Pretty much a easy transfer for me. The only transfer that hurt me to do is Wood, because I do think he's a good option going forward. But as you can see, I'm running thin. I have no bench. I didn't have cover for Wood, so I had to upgrade Wood to João Pedro to make sure that my starting 11s is strong, and I need to keep up with my rank as well at this stage. Now, just to get into the defense, I've got Henderson. Still, again, he looked good, and I think looking for going forward, there's potential for clean sheet, especially Leicester at home. So let's hope he can get some save points and a clean sheet and then potentially a cheeky 10-pointer. With Trent, again, I think he's a template pick. If you don't have him, I think he's essential, borderline essential. Although he's getting 70 minutes, I think there is bound to be attack and return. He should have already had 3 attack and returns. But, we don't do ifs and buts. We need him to get some returns soon. And I think he will, considering the fixtures they have. Nottingham Forest at home, great fixture. Hopefully he gets his first return of the season. Moving on to the next defender, Robinson. He looked good again, to be honest. I mean, he had an assist and he's really attacking. Although they don't have a good defense, he's very attacking. So even if they don't get clean sheet, he can make up for it in the attack. So I'm happy with this option, considering there's limited option this year anyways. If you're looking at Dunk, Konza, these are not really that exciting, to be honest. They don't offer that much attacking threat. So at this price point, he's a very good option. I mean, if you want for Lewis, that's also a great option. Instead of Robinson, you can also have Lewis. But again, I started with him and I'm pretty happy with him. He's got West Ham at home. There's a potential for attack and return as well as a clean sheet. And then finally, we have Gabriel, who's got Tottenham away. That's a tough one because they have lost Rice as well as Odegaard, because Rice got a red card in the last game week and Odegaard got injured in the international break. Now, that does weaken them as a squad, but I still have faith that they might be able to get something, especially Gabriel, who is a very good threat from attacking set pieces, So I do think that, although they may not keep clean sheet because it's a derby, I still think there is a potential chance for a bullet header, hopefully. So I'm happy to start with Gabriel. And then moving on to our midfield, King Salah, Santa Salah, the Egyptian king. We're starting with him. He's got Nottingham Forest at home. As I mentioned for Trent, that's a good fixture. Although I do rate Forest defensively, I think Liverpool against any team, they can push 2-3 past easily. And most likely Salah will be involved in some way, shape or form. And then moving on to Rodgers, who's got Everton at home. Again, he passes the eye test, but let's hope finally he gets his attack and return. Who again, Everton team looks very weak without Branthwaite and a couple of the defenders were injured. So yeah, let's hope finally Rodgers gets a return versus Everton. And then next, the player that I already talked about, that we transferred in, Eze versus Leicester at home. I think he's one of the captaincy options, although obviously I'll go with Haaland. In terms of captaincy ranking, I'll probably put in my team 3rd after Haaland, Salah and Eze. And that just tells you how much of a good pick he is in this game week, considering Leicester has been paused to start the season as well. So that's one of the fixtures I'm looking to target. And to have Eze, one of the talisman for Palace, who's on 90 minutes, absolutely great pick. And I think that's one of the transfer targets that if you haven't already made your transfers, that you should target for this game week. And then lastly, we have Jota. Again, same as Salah, he's got Forest at home. He's pretty much nailed to start. Darwin doesn't look too good coming off the bench. So I think he will get his minutes and potentially a return as well. Historically speaking, though, he does perform against Forest. So let's hope he gets a return. Moving on to our forwards, Haaland, who has Brentford at home. A lot of people are saying Brentford has a good defense. A lot of people are saying, oh, that's a bogey team. A lot of people are saying, the Haaland last season, he blanked against them at home. Look, all of that is nonsense. Don't listen to people saying all this nonsense, right? All these people that are saying that they probably don't have him and they don't want you to captain him. I'll tell you for free right now. Haaland is the best captain. And the second person that's come even close is Salah. And even then, I think there's quite a big gap, because Haaland isn't in the form of his life. He's got back-to-back hat-trick and all the chances are going through him. They're all creating for him, you know. Whereas Salah, Jota could score, Diaz could score, Szoboszlai can score. There's multiple avenues to score. Same thing I've been saying the whole season, to be honest. There is more goals for Haaland compared to Salah. Although I understand Salah gets more points for scoring goals or an assist, I still think Haaland overall is a bigger threat in terms of getting attack in return. And yeah, I would say definitely captain him. Don't even think about it, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Moving on to the next forward, we've got João Pedro, who's got Ipswich at home. Again, that's my another transfer in this week for Wood. I'm hoping that he's going to start. There are some, rumours that, look, he went to Brazil. He had a 16-hour flight. He came on Thursday. Will he start on Saturday? I'm hoping he starts, because I don't have any bench coverage, you guys can see. He had at least 2 days of rest, Thursday and Friday, and he's playing on Saturday. Let's hope he starts. If he does start, I think he's a great pick. Ipswich at home, you can't ask for a better fixture. And he's on 90 minutes on pens. Absolute talisman for Brighton. So I love this pick. Hopefully he starts and gets a return. And then finally, we've got Isak, Wolves away. As you guys saw what Chelsea did the week before to Wolves, I'm hoping Newcastle can, replicate that and at least put 3 or 4 past them, because Wolves doesn't have, great defense this season. As well as they also, I think, Mascherano also got injured in the international break. So they're kind of weakened defensively. So I'm hoping Isak can, deliver. And for those managers that transferred him out for João Pedro or to get Salah or whatnot, I hope he punishes them. And yeah, overall, this is how we're lining up for game week 4. I'm pretty happy with this squad. Let's move on to our bench. We got Vardy Marsden, again, just a bench option. He doesn't start. We got Sangare, we got Hardwood and Johnson. Again, these players, I'm hoping that they don't need to come on, because most of the time if they do come on, they'll come for a 1 or 2 pointer. I'm hoping that all my players start. The only doubt in my team, as I mentioned, is João Pedro. But again, I think he should start. But yeah, this is how we're lining up. Let me know what you guys think. And finally, let's move on to the wildcard draft for game week 4, because I know a lot of people are popping that wildcard draft to bring back Salah or Haaland, because they didn't start with both of them. As I said, I think that is the best structure to start with. And if people are wildcarding, I don't blame them, as long as they have a couple of transfers saved to bring back Arsenal assets. So let's move on to our wildcard draft for game week 4. As you guys can see, I started with obviously Salah and Haaland draft, because that's the main thing. I think if you're wildcarding this week, you have to have triple Liverpool and you have to have Salah and Haaland. That's non-negotiable in my opinion. So let's start with the goalkeeper. I still have Henderson. I feel like, Palace have improved slightly defensively, considering that they kept Gehi and signed a couple of defenders, as well as the fact that, they have Leicester at home. It's a great fixture. But you can opt to go in with Sales, who's a great option, plays for Forest, but he does have Liverpool this week. And you can also get Flecken. They do have good long-term fixtures. These are other options that you have. But I'm pretty happy with Henderson so far, although he had a poor start to the season. So yeah, moving on to our defense, we've got Trent. He's not going anywhere. As I said, he's essential. He's on set pieces, free kicks. Although he's not 90 minutes, I still think that it kind of works in his favour, especially against teams that might be, a bit more attacking, like Palace and Forest, which likely to score in the 70th or 80th minute, when he'll basically most likely come off. So even if he does come off early, he still banks that clean sheet. And I think even if he gets 60, 70 minutes, he can potentially get an attacking return within that time. And that's kind of a positive, the way I look at it, because most of the time when teams are on the 70th, 80th minutes, they bring on all the attackers to go in all out to get a goal and chase the game. And more time, Liverpool will be, winning by 1-0 or 2-0, and the other team will be trying to chase. And that's when they might concede. And if Trent is off the pitch, he's most likely to bank a clean sheet. And if he has attacking return, he's most likely to get a bonus points as well. So pretty happy with this pick. And then moving on to the next defender, we have Lewis, who's got Brentford at home. Great fixture. He is a bit of a doubt in terms of he could lose his place if Walker is healthy and he's back. But again, so far he looked really, really good in the start of the season. I mean, that way he's playing so attacking. He's getting more touches in the box than their own wingers, which is crazy to me. And he's bound to get a goal. And he should have had a goal in the last game week. I don't know how he didn't score. He had an open goal. But again, plays for City, only 4.7 million now. He was 4.5 before. Great attacking threat. If he starts, he's a bargain of the season in my opinion. And if he keeps his place, he's probably going to be a template pick come game week 6 wildcards. So yeah, to be ahead of the curve, you can go for Lewis. And then we have Robertson, who's got Forest. Again, as you guys can see, I went with triple Liverpool and I opted to go with the Liverpool defense because I just feel like they've been looking really, really good to start the season. Arguably the best defense in the league now, as well as the fixtures they're coming up are really good for defensive clean sheets. And they're both attacking. Robertson and Trent, they're both attacking. So there's not much to say. Great fixtures. And they're both attacking going forward. They're on set pieces, corners, bound to get an attacking return, one or the other. So this is how I'll line up in defense. And then moving on to the midfield, we have Rodgers, again a budget option, which enables us to fund Salah and Haaland. And he's got Everton, Wolves and Ipswich in the next 3 fixtures. Great fixtures. He's got 2 home fixtures and 1 away, Ipswich away. So again, I think this is where he needs to get returned. It's been, 3 game weeks where he looked good, but he hasn't returned yet. If he doesn't return in the next 2 game weeks, I think he becomes a concern. But I'm hoping he will get something, considering that there is a lot of injuries in Villa, and he's bound to be one of the key players to, get them over the hump. Moving on to our next midfielder, we've got Semenyo, who had an amazing start to the season. I mean, he's scoring against anybody, and he's making a mockery out of the price that he's been put in, 5.5, now 5.6. I still think it's too cheap for his price. And the way he's been playing, he's becoming one of the talisman for Bournemouth. And I think in a wildcard draft you have to go with him. And Chelsea defensively has not been looking that good, and I would start him versus Chelsea, and there is a chance that he gets an attacking return in that fixture. And then after he has a tough fixture, but you can bench him for Mbeumo, who has Tottenham, so we can rotate Mbeumo and Semenyo when they have tough fixtures. They rotate really well. And then in game week 6, they have Southampton, and then 7 Leicester. I think those 2 fixtures, he could absolutely smash it. So I think he's a bit of a cheeky differential, as well as the fact that he's also very, very cheap in terms of value. And these are the players that you need in order to fund Trent, Robertson, Salah, and Haaland. So yeah, moving on to the next midfielder, we got Eze, I think 6.9, Leicester at home. As I already talked about in my team selection, he's an amazing pick. He's going to be a template pick come game week 6. And you're just going to be ahead of the curve by getting him now. And the next 3 fixtures also looks amazing. So he's good for both long term and short term. And he's on set pieces and penalties, as I mentioned already. Absolute essential pick in the wild card. Moving on to the next midfielder, of course, Salah. What can I say? He's a template pick. That's the whole reason you're wild carding. We already said enough about him. It's a must if you're wild carding to have Salah this week. And if you wanted to, if you have a couple of safe transfers, you could switch him to Saka in game week 6, who has great fixtures from game week 6 to game week 9. But it's again, that's up to you. If you want to go that route, you have that option. Same with Robertson. You can change Robertson to Saliba or Gabriel in game week 6 if you save your royal transfers or if you already have saved transfers. So that's one of the reasons why I like these 2 pick. Moving on to our forwards with Jackson, who's got amazing 4 fixtures going forward, and he looks to be nailed, and he looks to be the Chelsea's #1 striker because Nkunku seems to be out of favour, and they don't really have any other natural strikers in their team. I mean, you could argue that Felix could play a false 9, but again, I don't think he will be as effective as Jackson, and he has already scored 2 goals this season. So he has had a good start already, and considering he's got Bournemouth away, that's a good fixture for them to attack, and he's a good pick in my opinion in a wildcard draft. Moving on to our next forward, we've got João Pedro, template pick. Pretty much everyone's going to own him soon, and he's only 5.7, another one of those players that enables us to have the Salah and Haaland draft, and he's got Ipswich and Forest at home. I think there's a couple of goals in the next 2 game weeks if he does start. As I said already, there is a slight doubt that, because of the international break and the travel and the jet lag, he may be a doubt to start, but I think he will still start in game week 4. Lastly, we have Haaland, who will be the captain, for my team, and I think if you own him as well, you should captain him. He's got Brentford at home. Then he's got 2 couple of tricky fixtures, but again, I think there's an attack and return for him, considering the form he has. Some people are saying they want to go without Haaland in the draft, in the wildcard draft in game week 4. I think that's too risky considering his form. He could bag a hat-trick in any game week. And even against Arsenal, they've been, without Odegaard, I don't think they'll look that good. He does do a lot of defensive work, and I think Arsenal could be, they could concede a couple of goals versus City. And Newcastle, of course, they haven't looked great defensive-wise, so I don't think that's a hard fixture for him. I don't even consider that's a red fixture, to be honest. And then he's got, from game week 7, he's got great fixtures, Fulham, Wolves, all the easy fixtures. So you want to be ahead of the curve by having both right now and have the solid structure of Salah, Haaland and Trent and you have a good structure, and you got a couple of budget options around it to make up for the wildcard. Finally, moving on to the bench, we've got Mbeumo with a brace versus Southampton, and he's got Man City next. That is why he's on the bench. But from game week 5, he's got Tottenham, West Ham, Wolves, Ipswich, all the easiest fixture that you can think of in terms of attacking it. I think he's going to be a template pick, just like Eze come game week 6 wildcard. So you want to be ahead of the curve, and he rotates really well to Semenyo, as I already mentioned, and I think he's an amazing option. He's a talisman for Brentford, who looks really good attacking wise, and he's on pens and set pieces. Same with Dunk. I think he rotates really well with Lewis. Although I think Dunk is more of an insurance policy for Lewis, because if he gets benched, Dunk can easily come in for him. And similarly, you got Greaves, who's got great fixtures coming up in the next 6 to 7 game weeks. So for some reason, if one of your players gets injured, he could come and play, considering the fixtures that they have. They got Brighton, Southampton, Villa. Although Villa is a tough fixture, but overall, if you do need to bring him in because one of your players are injured, he's quite a viable pick in my opinion. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. This team does require you to use the full squad value of 100 million, and obviously if you don't have 100 million, then it might be a bit difficult to fund this squad. But one of the ways you could do it is maybe downgrade Dunk to another 4 million defender, and that way you can fund this team. And obviously, as I said, the only place I think I can make a change in this team is in the goalkeeper section, Henderson for someone else. And maybe if you don't like Lewis as a punt, you can change that to another 4.5 million defender like Konza, or you could go for Luca Digne, although I don't like that Villa difference too much. So let me know what you guys think. This is the game week for Wildcard Draft. To me, it looks pretty good. Rotates really well with the attackers. João Pedro and Mbeumo Semenyo, they rotate really well. You can always have a guy that has an easy fixture. And overall, you have a good structure of Salah, Haaland and Trent. So yeah, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. And peace out.